What's up, everybody? Welcome into week 10 of the Ragsdale Rumble. I am your host, Big Mike, and we are joined, as always, by Herb and Rodg. Guys, how are you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Feeling like a champion. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Kind of weird not hearing fantastically splendid, but
yeah,
hopefully it gets better there, Rodg. You're only one game behind still. We did have a tie last week, so everything's still the same. Herb is still one game up, but he's not letting it go to his head as I read Herb the champion.
Yeah, he is.
Apparently.
Roger, are you okay? Are you good, Raj? Has it slowed down? Has it slowed your roll, as the kids like to?
Oh, nobody says that anymore.
Oh,
I don't know if being in first place means you're on the local news, because it looks like you're at a news station there, Herb.
yeah.
But
this is what they call playing around with the green screen.
But we do have a big slate of games. A lot of good games going on. We'll get to one in particular that all three of us will be interested in, definitely, but we will talk about that at the end of the show. To get started with our picks, as usual, Raj being behind. Sorry, you will go first. Start out at the 11 o'clock slate. Kansas State at 5-2 travels to Texas at 7-1. Texas is currently favored by 5 at home. Raj, who do you have and why?
I'm glad you picked this one as the first game. Guess who I'm picking?
Kansas State.
I'm taking Kansas State to win this game.
Ooh,
from what I understand, Quinn Ewers is still out, correct? He has a shoulder injury.
That is correct.
I think it's Malik Monk or somebody like that.
I think it was Malik Murphy. He played. He did these.
Brother of Malik Monk.
He had a rough start last week.
Did he have a show in USA at some point?
I don't know. Rough start last week, but he finished pretty strong. And I even told her this one time. I said, even after the OU game, I think Texas has a tendency to lose one game that they probably should not have lost. With that being said, Kansas State is ranked 23. They got a 6-2 record. Pretty good team. But I'm gonna take Kansas State on the road, and I'm going with Kansas State. I'm confident about this pick.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's like, do I go against Raj? But like, I wouldn't mind if Texas loses. And it is K-State. I'm going to take Texas at home to somehow pull this one out and do just enough to win. But, man, I like Rodgers' reasoning. I'll never admit it to him, but I like his reasoning.
You actually just did admit it, yeah.
And I will be rooting for K-State all morning, so it's going to be weird. I think I'm going to take Texas at home.
All right. We already got one.
I think Malik Monk's brother will definitely get it done.
Yes, Malik Monk's brother, Malik Murphy, making his second start.
Yes.
Moving over a little bit into the SEC at 11 o'clock, you have 5-3 Texas A&M heading to 7-1 Ole Miss. Ole Miss is favored at home by 4.5. Herb, you're up first this time. Who do you have and why?
It's so weird to me that the line is this short.
Yeah, I mean, that is strange.
If it was going to Texas A&M, I could see a short line like this. I'd be a little more worried about the game. But I just feel like Ole Miss will have enough offense to get this one done for sure. Yeah. Texas A&M won't get enough stops and won't produce enough. So Ole Miss at home, dangerous team. I think they take this one. Ole Miss is still looking at the whole outside shot of the SEC West thing.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to try and take advantage of every opportunity they get.
I'm with Herb on this one. I got Ole Miss. I think they're too much offense for A&M. A&M is they're just fighting and trying to win 6 games so they can make a bowl game this year. But I think they're going to fall to 5-4 in this one. And again, I'm going to share Herb's sentiment. I don't know why the line's only 3. I know Ole Miss isn't great, but they are capable of putting up some points on the board. So I got Ole Miss by at least 10 in this game.
All right, there you go. We do agree on that one. So there's one agreement, one disagreement so far. Moving next to kind of a bounce back game. Two teams that thought they were going to be a little bit further ahead this season. Notre Dame at 7-2 travels into Clemson at 4-4. Clemson, a tough loss at NC State last week. Notre Dame is currently favored by 3 points on the road. Roger, at first this time, who do you think?
I got to go with Notre Dame. I have shared my sentiments of Clemson throughout the year on the podcast. I have no idea what's going on at Clemson anymore. They have really, really taken a deep fall from grace over the past few years. Yep. And we all know they had Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence, and then DJU didn't meet expectations. They're now on Cade Klubnik. I don't think he's meeting expectations. If he was, they wouldn't be 4-4. Yeah. We even thought that Clemson might vie for the ACC title this year at preseason, of course, but
they were
that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Clemson and Florida State are on night and day. So anyway, I'm going to go with Notre Dame. I think they have the better overall team. And Clemson's going to be 4-5. I got to take a look at Clemson's remaining schedule to see if they can get six wins. That would be really, really strange for them not even make a bowl game. But that's down the road. So anyway, I'm going to go Notre Dame.
They are in the ACC, so I figured it'd be hard for them not at least to get 6. But who knows?
That's what I know. But with the way they've been playing, I don't know.
Their season ends with Georgia Tech, North Carolina, South Carolina after this one. If you drop the Notre Dame game and North Carolina is a toss up, you got to win Georgia Tech and South Carolina.
Yeah,
and that all depends on what South Carolina you're getting.
I could see them losing to Notre Dame, losing to North Carolina, and possibly losing to South Carolina if maybe winning the Georgia Tech game. So I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
It's interesting that reasoning kind of gives the Clemson more motivation for this game, but I share Rodg's sentiment. Like Notre Dame is just much better. Like you're looking at 7-2, but both those 2 losses were heartbreakers. Yeah. They could easily be. They had the number 1 team on the ropes. I think Notre Dame is better in all facets, and Clemson is just looking awful this year. Like Dabo's ready to fight callers. So
right,
and then the way DJ's playing out there, you start to wonder if it was Clemson or DJ at some point. So anyway, I'm going with Notre Dame on the road in this one.
Well, Herb's picking my pick again. Okay.
Well, technically, the last one you picked his pick because he went first on the last one. But
no extra commentary needed.
I
digress. We're nothing if not irrational.
I'm just trying to keep the peace. I'm just trying to keep us on the straight and narrow, keep us all honest. That's my only job.
Whoa! I didn't agree to honesty. Like when we started this, there was no agreement for honesty.
Well, Mike, do you see Herb? You see Herb's pinky finger when he holds his hand up, Mike? Look at his right pinky finger. Oh my gosh!
I've seen it a little bit.
Yeah, that's good Lord.
I try not to notice it because it makes my hand hurt when I see it. But thanks for pointing that out. Now,
all right, of course.
Well, you know what they say.
All right, moving back to the
No, what do they say?
All right, so moving on.
Okay.
Do you really want to ask that question?
No. Let's go. Let's move on.
All right. That's what I thought. Moving along, Arkansas 2-6 takes on Florida at 5-5. Two teams that have really struggled this year. Florida is favored by 5.5, and it is in Florida. And again, I know we've heard some different lines, as we say most weeks. These lines were when I looked them up on Sunday.
Right.
Currently, it's Friday as we record, and I'm too lazy to go back and look at them.
Yeah. Well, it shrunk to -3. Am I first? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're first. You're good. Go ahead.
It shrunk to -3, which is interesting because I don't think any line should ever move in Arkansas's direction the way this is going. Fired the offensive coordinator, have not looked good. I've been listening to like the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. That guy just seems depressed at times. Like there's just no hope. I would give Florida that simply for being at home. I feel like Florida's going to win by 10, but I just don't know that Arkansas is going to get enough generated to win this game. So it's like Arkansas hope at a bowl. Like your season's pretty much done. Where do the players find the motivation at this point? Florida wins, and maybe even big. It could get ugly.
Yeah, I got Florida in this one too. Rough year for Pittman, KJ Jefferson. Expectations were so high at the beginning of the season, but they did not meet any of them. I guess the question now is how long is – I mean, Pittman's been on the crispy seat, not even the hot seat. He's been on the crispy seat for weeks now. So
the problem is people like him.
Yeah, no,
that's like a really good guy.
He seemed well respected
from a really bad place, but
and well respected in the SEC. But it's just like he had a rough year. So I'm hoping that they give him another year so we can beat him again. But I don't know. In this game, I'm just going to take Florida.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Staying in for our last game at the 11 o'clock hour, a game that I'm pretty sure neither one of you thought I was going to pick, so I had to go out of the box. And I just wanted to say that we're going to pick a good old-fashioned cockfight. It is Jacksonville State at 7-2 going into South Carolina at 2-6. South Carolina is still favored by 14, but Jacksonville State has impressed under Rich Rod. I believe he's the coach there now. They've played really good. And plus, I got to keep you on your toes, so I had to go a little bit out of the box. Roger at first. Who you have and why?
And we're talking about Jacksonville State and South Carolina?
Yep.
Yes.
This is going to be a real cocky matchup.
Time.
I guess
time.
I thought you're not monetized on YouTube yet, so it's not like they can demonetize us at this point.
Exactly. I think this is just going to be a matchup where the bigger.
I need a flag. That's what I'm gonna start bringing. A flag.
You of all people don't throw a flag on any weird.
That was even bad for me though.
I'm not talking about going to get somebody's chocolate though. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
Come get this.
Exactly.
I think this is going to be a matchup where I guess Spencer Rattler shows that the bigger wins. So I'm going to go with South Carolina.
Wow. Did you just censor that one?
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
South Carolina wins, but I think it's closer than this line would lead you to believe. So Jacksonville State, not a bad team. They'll keep them on the road. South Carolina is kind of like the Arkansas category, right? A lot more was expected this year, especially the way they ended last year, and it's been terrible. You almost say KJ Jefferson and Spencer Rattler are just trying to play for their NFL lives now. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see them both throw it like 40 times a game. But having said that, South Carolina wins, but Jacksonville State keeps it close.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Both competitors going for South Carolina Gamecocks instead of Jacksonville State, turning away from their, well, I guess home state. You guys weren't born in Alabama, but this is where I knew you from. So moving right along into the 2:30 slate, really big games at 2:30. First up, you have in the SEC, which I believe is one of the CBS games, Missouri going into Georgia. 2:30, Missouri, as always, as we all know, 7-1. Georgia undefeated without Brock Bowers. Still a pretty big line. Georgia favored by 16 at home. Herb, you're up first. Who do you have on?
Georgia still wins this game. There's no way I'm ever going to back Mizzou. I think they stay within this number. Good team. Has the offense to maybe trouble Georgia. I just think they run out of gas somewhere towards the end, and Georgia wears them down enough to win this one. But the missing Brock Bowers will definitely hurt, even though a lot of receivers seems to be filling in. But Georgia wins this game. Mizzou to keep it close, though.
I got Georgia, too. I think their defense is going to be too much for Missouri's quarterback. It's a good story for Missouri. They're looking good this year. Of course, we would all love to see them pull off an upset tomorrow, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
I got Georgia.
Good, feel good, don't win.
Okay, well, that's somebody else we won't talk about that has that kind of that tagline that's disappointed me this season. They've had a lot more than jewelry stole from them. They've had their pride stolen. But we will move on because I don't want to talk about it because it hurts. Speaking of hurting, it is the end of an era. I hate to say this. Not that I really cared about the era that it was in. You do have the last ever Bedlam as of right now. I don't know if they're scheduled to play in the near future. Oklahoma comes in at 7-1 into Oklahoma State at 6-2. They do have Oklahoma still favored by 6, even though it's in Oklahoma State. Rodg, who do you think takes the last ever Bedlam?
Y'all know who I'm going with, right?
Okie State?
I'm going with the Pokes.
Oh. First you went with the Gamecocks, now you're going with the Pokes.
Yep, first now I'm going with the Pokes. Yep, I'm going with Oklahoma State. Even though they're at home, I mean, they're both still in Oklahoma technically anyway. So anyway.
He said technically.
They do. Oklahoma State is in Oklahoma.
Well, look, Jacksonville State's not in Jacksonville, so it could be anywhere. Oklahoma State could be in New Mexico.
I think Oklahoma's going to drop another game, and I think Texas is going to lose tomorrow too, and that's going to wipe the Big 12 out of the CFP, any type of CFP contention that they may have been in. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma State.
You down with CFP? Yeah, you know me. You down with CFP?
Some of these guys aren't going to be with the CFP
right
after this week. So there are definitely some elimination games. Rodg picking Oklahoma State. Herb,
I like it.
Do we have a disagreement?
I can't even do the dance because I'm going with Oklahoma. It's not an anti-Rodg pick, but I have to say this. Rodg deserves credit for picking against Oklahoma and Texas this week. He's showing the bigger Gamecock, if you will. So,
but yeah,
we're not going to make it. We're not going to make it.
Yeah, this show is going to be heavily edited.
Yes.
But I think I'm going to go with Oklahoma just because we have some friends. Two of our biggest fans, I guess, are from Oklahoma. So, probably number 2 on 3 on the list after Big Mike. So
Big Mike. All right, let me shut up.
I agree with Rodgers, and a lot of people are picking Oklahoma State this week, so it's going to be a tough game for them. But I just feel like Oklahoma took an L last week, but Now they bounce back.
God, stop saying that.
It's every week. It's got to work in, Rod.
Okay.
But I'm selling merch as the first person to ever come up with that tagline.
I don't think you're the first person to come up with that tagline.
Tomato.
And I had that in my notes during the Clemson game that Clemson was going to have to bounce back against North, and I took it out just because I didn't want that reference.
Please don't do it, Mike.
I figured it was going to come up at some point. Oh, I'd already passed it. I scratched that on my notes on my page because I figured it was going to come up sooner or later.
Sooner or later, Mike's picking Oklahoma also. I got you, Mike. I'm here.
We've established that I have no business making any picks. That's why I'm hosting and not picking because you guys are – still very good records. I know we didn't really talk about it. Herb, you're 55-40. Rodg, you're 54-41. So still really good records. Mine will probably be flipped of that. Look, if you're over 500.
You're
well over 500. Let's see. Moving on, staying in the Big 12. Again, I know you guys hate picking it every week, but I mean, we're going to go Kansas and Iowa State. Kansas at 6-2. Iowa State at 5-3. Iowa State's actually favored by 1.5, which I'm guessing means Jalen Daniels probably still isn't playing. Herb, you're up first on this one. Who do you think?
Which game is it? You said this is at 2:30, or what time is this game?
No, this one's at 6. Kansas and Iowa State.
We jumped.
Yeah, at 6.
My bad.
That's how time works. After 2:30, there's not really a game until 6:30 because football takes a little time. It takes a minute to play.
I'm looking at the games that are like -3 and stuff. So I'm like, is this the game we're about to talk about? So this is weird.
This one's -1.5. Or it was. So on Sunday, this one was actually -1.5.
Right.
To Iowa State. So it was a really close line then. I don't know if it's moved since.
I'm going to take Kansas. Haven't watched much of Iowa State. Don't ever plan to. Maybe for the rest of my life. Obviously favored at home, and Kansas missed their quarterback. But coming off that big win, they've got to try and keep that momentum going. Is what I would think. And if they lost they've lost 2 Big 12 games. So I mean, they really can't afford to drop another one. And if Rodgers' predictions hold true and Texas and Oklahoma both lose, I mean, it could be a huge logjam in the Big 12. So I feel like every win matters. Kansas, I'm going to take them.
It could be a huge logjam. Nobody says that word.
You know what, Raj? I'm going to be late picking you up on Wednesday. Sorry. Like I might not get there till Thursday. So just wait. Oh my gosh. If I'm not there in 10 minutes, just wait longer.
All right. So, and to clear up, you did pick Kansas, right?
Unless Iowa State loses, then this will be the part where I muddy the waters, and I clearly picked Iowa State. So.
All right. So with her picking Kansas, Roger, going over to you. Who do you think will win this game?
What? Oh, can I have that part?
Anti-Herb pick. I am going to pick the Iowa State Cyclones to win this game again, simply because Herb picked another team.
All right, and
I would say that hurts my pride, but it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
I mean, it could be.
It's going to create a logjam, though.
You may not get a ride on Wednesday if you win. Herb pick.
You're such a jerk.
Look, I will give credit. I was listening to a podcast today, which I know sounds like a Herb thing to say that I was listening to a podcast today. But I did hear somebody mention the word leaky when describing the football team.
Gotcha.
It was an offensive line instead of a defense, so it was a little different reference. But they did say that the team they were talking about does have a leaky offensive line. So I did get that reference today. So shout out to Herb for teaching me a new phrase earlier this year.
I can't believe y'all think that's a new phrase. So
that's new to me. I've never heard anybody describe it, so it is new to me. Yeah. It's kind of like a used car that you buy. It's still new to you.
When I first heard it, it created a logjam in my brain.
You can't use that for everything.
Well, I'm glad that you guys have both shared your sentiments on this because we've used that one a lot today too.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna use it more.
But we will get out of the logjam of the Big 12 and move back to the SEC where things are a little clearer. Going in, Kentucky travels into Mississippi State. Kentucky 5-3, Mississippi State at 4-4. The line when I checked it was Kentucky favored by 3. Mississippi State struggling a little bit, but being at home in the SEC, you never know. Roger, up first.
I'm going to go with Kentucky. I want them to have a better record by the time we beat them next week. I just think they have a better running game too. Mississippi State just had a pretty rough season. Hopefully they bounce back next year, but I'm going to go Kentucky in this game.
Yeah, I think Kentucky. I don't know about rolls in this one. You can never tell with Kentucky, but I think they've got enough to get past Mississippi State. Mississippi State, like right on the edge of bowl eligibility, so you think they might be a little motivated at home. And you're looking at Texas A&M, Southern Miss, Ole Miss after these, so
it could be kind of a crap game for Kentucky too. You know, like you said, going into Alabama next week, looking ahead a little bit, may give Mississippi State a little bit more than you think.
Coming off Tennessee, and I mean, they've lost 3 in a row. Kentucky has. If they lose this game, it's all over with for them. So
but after we beat LSU tomorrow, Kentucky's going to be in a heck of a logjam when they play us.
That's not even the correct usage of the word.
I don't care about correct usage.
Look, let's leave the logjam in the Big 12. Let's let them have the logjam. Let's let the SEC be free and clear, free-flowing rivers. Straight to Atlanta for the championship. No log jams in the SEC.
I don't want any log jams in the SEC. I want a straight path. I'm avoiding all log jams.
Let's leave that in the Big 12 and let's Big 12 games to pick. So hopefully we don't hear about a log jam anymore.
Yeah, no more log jams.
Moving into the ACC though, at 7:00, Miami at 6-2, coming into NC State. NC State coming off that huge win at Clemson. But Miami is still favored on the road by 4. Herb, you're up first this time. Who do you think?
NC State burned me once this year, and I swore to never pick them again. So I'm going with Miami. NC State's offense, this year has been putrid. So I feel like no matter what happens, Miami's going to figure out a way to pull this one out. So I'm going with Miami on the road. NC State burned me. They're dead to me.
I feel like we should get like a single bell, and then every time we use one of these keywords,
that's actually a pretty good idea,
and just have a ding. But then it's just me thinking out loud. Rodg, who do you think?
I'm gonna agree with the illustrious Herb the champion here. I'm gonna go with Miami as well. I think they have a better quarterback.
Herb the champion. I'm getting that.
I'm sorry, illustrious, big word. And I think they have a better quarterback than NC State. NC State's defenses look good, but their offense has looked like an extremely large logjam.
Dumpster fire.
Or dumpster fire.
Yes.
Yeah. So we both got Miami.
Everybody on Miami?
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you upside the head with a logjam if you keep this up.
Okay. All right.
I
won't say it again.
Final game of the night, which, is,
we heard that lie you just told.
To say it. As much as I hate to say it, could cause a log jam in the Pac-12. Washington at 8-0 travels to USC. USC at 7-2, 2 pretty big losses. I know they've struggled on defense. Michael Penix in Washington hasn't looked great the past few weeks. They are still favored by 4. The game is in California. Rod, you're up first on this one. Who do you think?
I got to go with Washington because they have the better defense. And I like the way that they played against Oregon, which is a really tough game. They were able to pull that one out. USC, obviously, we know about Caleb Williams, might be one of the best quarterbacks in the country, but that USC defense has been suspect all year. There's been plenty of times when they put up, even against Colorado, I think they beat Colorado, was it 49-40? What are you doing?
He's winding up while you're talking.
Oh, I see where he's going with this. I see where he's going with this. I'm going to stick with Washington as my pick in this game. I think Michael Penix continues his Heisman campaign in this game and then throws for 350, 400 yards, especially against USC.
All right, there we go. We did see the dance. We saw the windup. We just Alabama hats for some reason.
They're both Alabama hats. I didn't get that. There was.
I would have understood if you had like a USC hat waiting in the wings,
was that supposed to be like a Doctor Strange thing? What was that?
Yes,
same team. Okay,
or at least turn it backwards so it's something different, but it's still just a regular Alabama hat.
Rodg, pick.
Okay.
I'm going with USC at home. Washington just looks so shaky since the Oregon game. And this just seems like the kind of game where, USC's looked terrible all year. They'll find a way to somehow win this one. Now, when they're down like 40 points in the third, nobody texts.
Yeah.
But I'm taking USC at home.
But again, if USC does win, I mean, this could create somewhat of a logjam in the Pac-12.
It's been 2 minutes since you said you won't say it anymore.
But you knew I was going to say it again. I wasn't telling the truth.
I did lead him into it.
Yeah,
I did.
Thank you.
I did kind of start that one there because it does literally create a logjam in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
With Oregon and Washington, most people that I've seen during college picks think Oregon's probably better than Washington.
I do too.
I agree.
So I mean, it will create a lot of chaos.
We're like the committee right now where we're gonna ignore head to head and pick who we think is better. We're picking Oregon, but they played. These things happen.
And like I said, that's all the games we'll pick this time. We actually have, I think, the most disagreements that we've ever had. There's actually four games, four total. So we could still end up with a tie at 2-2. Hopefully we don't. Hopefully.
Texas, Oklahoma,
Oklahoma State,
Texas and K-State, Oklahoma State, Kansas and Iowa State, and Washington USC.
Yep. Okay. All right.
So four differences. Should be an exciting game. And you look, there's one in every window. There's one in the 11 window, the 2:30 window, and two in the late window. So should have good competition and suspense throughout the day for everybody.
Yep.
Or at least for us. I don't know that many other people care if we pick, but hey, we do. So that's all that matters. And I wanted to make a point with USC. I heard somebody mention, again, listening to a podcast. Rod heard to a podcast this week, and I heard this. But how do you guys feel about somebody mentioned that there's a Dr. Pepper jinx? Kind of like there used to be a Madden jinx where – a couple years ago, it was DJU signed with Dr. Pepper to be in Fansville. Last year, it was Bryce Young, and he struggled. This year, it's Caleb Williams, who hasn't played up to really potential. Should expected to win the Heisman. Do you guys give any credence to that, or do you have any opinion on that at all?
I didn't even. First of all, thank you for bringing this to my attention. I was not unaware of a Dr. Pepper jinx, but now that you put it into perspective, it kind of does make sense. Is Caleb Williams having a bad year, or is his defense kind of just stealing some of his thunder?
Right. Because Bryce Young didn't have a bad year. His team just wasn't in court.
They just played. Yeah, I think
Bryce kind of. If you eliminate DJ from that, because I didn't realize DJ was part of this whole thing, you're really just saying our Heisman Trophy winners having trouble the second year. You know, so with Bryce and Caleb, I think it's more of that.
That doesn't make my point, though. Why are we talking about Dr. Pepper?
I don't know. I just don't think Caleb's having a bad year. I just feel like if his defense were a little better, they would be close to undefeated right now. So I don't think there's a jinx right now. It'll be interesting to see who the guy is next year, so that I can now really, really follow along. So good point.
Well, you're welcome. Now I gave you a reason to watch commercials too.
Yep.
That's what I do. Be sure to tune in on every ESPN game ever.
I was about to say maybe next year it'll be Jalen Milroe, but I hope not. So.
No, that's
why
not.
I said that. Yeah.
Let's hopefully it's a Georgia player or some kind.
Yes. Carson Beck. Yeah.
Wow. Carson Beck. Carson Beck. The guy on TV here.
Well, they're not getting hurt. They're just not playing as good as they did the year before. I mean, it's not like the Madden curse where someone breaks a leg.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that they're not playing as well.
Yep.
But let's cut to the chase. We've kind of batted around it long enough. The big game for us, LSU, Alabama. In Tuscaloosa, late game. I guess
I'm gonna have a heart attack
the last game.
All day.
Yeah. Well, I don't feel good about it.
We're all picking Alabama. We know that.
Obviously.
I feel like if we can keep LSU's offense to 25 points, around 25 points, I'll give them 28. Then we can win the game because I feel like we can score. We
30.
should honestly. We should be able to get around 40, maybe a little over 40 points with their defense playing this bad. We should. Yeah. I just don't know.
And losing two key defenders coming.
And they're losing two key. It was a Mekhi Wingo and somebody else that they lost. I forgot the other guy's name. So we should be able to outscore them. I'm just worried about us having a slow start because if we have a slow start, hypothetically speaking, if we get the ball first, we don't score, they go and score. We're already behind. I mean, Jaden Daniels is just going to keep his foot on the gas, and they're just going to keep throwing the ball until it gets out of hand, and we're not going to be able to climb back in it. So I think we need to start. I really think we need to score on the opening drive. I don't even remember the last time we've actually done that. And I'm not talking about a field goal. I'm talking about a touchdown. And then get a few
3 years ago.
And then if we can get a few good stops throughout the game, I feel like as long as we're up and leading a half, and then that second half Alabama defense comes into play, I think we'll be all right. It's just It's just obviously it's extremely nerve-wracking. It's been 2 weeks. We got to wait. Tomorrow we got to wake up Saturday morning and then wait all day for the game. So the nerves are going to be there. LSU's got obviously one of the best offenses in the country, but I think we're going to pull it out. It's just going to be a dirty game.
All right, Herb, anything to add?
No, I mean, he hit on the main points. Can't let that first drive. Like, tell Milroe, please don't take a 10-second sack on the first drive. If we've got to grind it out. The only thing I would say is we don't need all or nothing Milroe on this one. We need 2 drives. We need to keep our defense rested. Don't let them get worn out there. So if the drive takes a long time, we're fine with that. Okay, it's whatever. But it doesn't have to be home run ball unless it's just clearly there. I think we pull it out. The home field advantage will be key, but man, it's like Rodg said, it won't be like Tennessee. If we're going to the half down like 27, then I'm just going to be.
Oh, it's over. I don't even know if I watched the second half.
Yeah, my liver's not going to make it. So for my sake, team, I need you to pull through.
Yep,
I'm going to say 38-30.
38-30. Okay.
I'll take it as long as we win.
Yeah, we're looking at that 30-point range being kind of the make or break. If Alabama gives up less than 30, we've got a really good chance. If they give up more than 30, we're not sure. I did hear an interesting stat that made me feel a little better. I know sacks have been a bad thing for Alabama this year. LSU is actually 13th in the SEC in sacks, so that's one of the things that their defense has struggled with, even though they've had a good defensive line. Yeah. So hopefully that bears out on Saturday, and we keep Milroe clean, or Milroe keeps himself clean by not holding the ball.
Yep.
But there we go, guys. I'm sorry, do you have something, Rod?
No. I was to your point. I was like, I wonder what Milroe's thinking sometimes when he's in the pocket, because I feel like if you hold the ball for around 4 seconds, if you haven't thrown the ball, just run. Yeah. Run up the middle, just scramble, just get out of bounds, just do something, but don't just stand there and hold the ball. I don't understand how that works. And I know sometimes the O-line they haven't been doing their job all year, but you got to be a better decision maker when it comes to that. So
agreed.
And I meant to say something about that too, and I apologize. I didn't get to listen to your show live, not this past week, but the week before. Yeah. And you guys mentioned that, and people have talked about it all season, how Milroe hasn't done a lot of designed runs. Yeah. I noticed something when watching, I think it was Tennessee on CBS, that when they were meeting with Milroe, that he made it a point to tell like the CBS guys that he's not a running quarterback.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know that that's more, hey, why isn't Reese calling this for Milroe? Right. I don't know that Milroe wants that. Right. But, we've been blaming a lot, myself included, blaming it on Reese why he's not calling a lot more of that. But that may be a lot of Jalen too.
Yeah. I think he's just going too far in the other direction, like to make himself into a pocket passer. Like he has a better chance of making it the rest of this year in college career and the next level at utilizing his legs and phasing it out like Jalen Hurts did versus I'm just not going to do it. Like, that's not as a dynamic a runner as he is. So,
and I'm saying run the ball only when you need to, but don't just hold the ball and take a sack, as Herb has mentioned previously. Don't step back 6 or 7 yards and then just take a sack. Just run the ball and get it 5 or 6 yards, go out of bounds, play it safe, and then we live to fight another day.
Yeah. But and the more he runs, the more to open up the other stuff.
Exactly.
So it can work for him.
Yep.
All right. Well, it sounds like we're all in agreement here. Looking forward to a great day of Saturday football starting at 11 o'clock all the way through the late game. I know we're probably not going to be watching a lot of those other 2 games since Alabama's going on late. So we'll probably have to watch ESPN to see who wins the day. But for Big Mike, Herb, and Rodg, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. And as always, roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. No more log jams.